Hello everyone. I hope you guys are doing really well today. My name is Eva and I want to thank you for joining me in this healing video. Today there is already an incredible amount of energy coming through. The focus of this session is to release and feel relief from and truly to have it be undone. Yes, this is not like temporary distraction. This is undoing of genetic imprinting, genetic code of stored grief, pain from loss, pain from abandonment, pain from ideas, and all of this sort of resonance and vibrational realities throughout dimensions of these ideas, and then the experiences that have then throughout time resulted from these ideas, lived experience in this lifetime, other ancestral genetic records, morphogenetic imprinting of the field where you find yourself. But in the personal experience of our lives, this will be deep sadness, deep heaviness, pain in the heart, frustration around grief, a feeling of missing out on happiness, like just deep grief and resentment for what has been lost, for potentially what you haven't experienced, not even something that you feel like you've experienced and then lost, but feeling lost from not having experienced something you wanted to at all. Feeling like deep fatigue in the body from grief. This is deep grief and sorrow. And so there are many people watching these videos, so it will appear different to you, but I do encourage you to allow what comes through to come through for you for processing, so that we are not negating ourselves. These are not they're not reality states in the sense of reality is unity. The only reality is the unity of love. So any ideas that we have in separation are illusions, but we are feeling them here. We have made them real to us from our beliefs, so we don't want to negate the experience of this, because then that stores and that binds us. And we are here to release these bindings by welcoming in to us the presence and the reality of the eternal love of God, the eternal love of Creator. And this is like breaking down walls of defenses. Lots of this grief will build defenses around experience, around a letting, not yes, this will result in experiences from outside of ourselves, but before that, it is not allowing the experience of the love of God from within us. This is a giant reorientation, a reversal of the thought system of the world into the thought system that is enlightened by God, which is coming from within. The center of all beingness is at the center of everywhere. So you are opening yourself to allowing this to flow from within you, from your source. It's not coming from outside of yourself. You don't open up yourself to have it come from somewhere else. There is nowhere else. It's coming from inside of you. And this is the work to reveal the unity of the truth. And the truth, which is unity and endless love, endless life, endless beingness. And this direct experience is where you are healed. And this informs all of the work that we do. Everything else is being in witness of how these currents and codes move and change and are reorchestrated throughout the physical dimensions. And physicality is expanded far beyond what we believe of as solid objects. I just saw a really cool thing on the internet that was physicists somewhere had I don't know how they measured this, but that they were tinkering with a photon, a light particle that had been expressed in 37 different dimensions. This is so much more. It's so much more than the 12 people talk about. It is limitless potential beingness, right? And if we just measure it by what we can see, sense, feel outside of ourselves, we're really limiting the expression of love into healing, past, future, concurrent, whatever you want to think about that as, allowing that presence of light we can't conceive of with our brains 37 dimensions, right? And that's just one example of a study I just saw. So or an experiment. It's just so much more. So we don't want to place limits on anything. And that's so much of the importance of the work, that we don't limit our projections and that we open ourselves up to miracle mindedness. We open ourselves up to infinite things, infinite possibility of the field. And this brings us peace, because we let go of projecting what has happened in the past and all of this pain and grief and loss, and just abject despair that's coming through. We don't project this into the future of that very limited sort of one-to-one correlate, that we allow this divine presence to show us we are healed, so we open ourselves up to limitless potentiality of being in happiness. We claim happiness as our birthright. We claim co-creation as what we are. So just take some nice deep breaths, knowing you are safe, knowing you are healed, knowing you are whole, knowing you are the Holy Son of God. There was a mantra sort of exercise in the Course in Miracles a few days ago I was doing. The lesson was, forgiveness is the key to happiness. I will awake from the dream that I am mortal, fallible, and full of sin, and know I am the Holy Son of God. Hinanaya torun. There is automatically a message coming out of the right side of the being, so clearing from the masculine lineage. This doesn't just have to be your father and your father's side. It's all men, all masculine energy in your presence. So it could be your mother's father, and then so on out and since the beginning. And it's in sight, in vision, and you can take that to be interpreted as however you will, that is meaningful for you. Torokorruita samsikinin disensatroko korokini an chantrawut, kini an sakirehiria naorui namayin chiriti sansaya shnatraya, sio sokorruhinata kunoyunto amayani shinindriti, siam shirit. So certainly an ancestral clearing and an ancestral unification. Sian sotoyishikian sakorruiti sa, and we carry our ancestors with us. That is what our bodies are made out of. They're made out of the record of time that we will not let go of. Siatorutis. We don't want to let go because we're afraid of death, which is nothing. Our ancestors are among us. Our bodies are a projection of our mind. There is eternal beingness. Now, when you relate to them at more expanded and more expanded levels, you do find that the personality that is based in duality and fear dissolves from us, but that's not a reason to be sad. But Spirit does understand that we have issues with letting go of personality, of anthropomorphizing. So, it's coming through as this being like part of the grief and part of maybe the resistance to expansion. Siataworro kunoin sakion sokono troamatis. Nien shenondro kanatri hiti sikin dishim satro orrohini tokum natrum nasin sota patraya sota. Opening to remembering, this is relating to a video I did a couple months ago of the fear of death. And we are connecting to all of these consciousness beings, all of these ancestors on, as other people say it, the other side, or manifesting out in different dimensionality or as being ever present. And the true power of choice that we have in the way that we want to relate to them. But the very important message of this is that love is the center of all things. And we give up ideas of loss because of the eternity of love. Shiati kor konoyan tokonai tson chokona payakina trani sitish. Because as you expand and you follow the way of love, you will have to leave ideas of yourself and context of yourself behind that is based in fear. And so when we let go of the past, when we undo the past through our genetic healing, we are letting go of these identities and contexts that are based in fear or based in the idea of opposites defining each other, right? If we don't want to project the past into the future, then we have to let go of the identity that we made of ourselves in the past. You are no longer that person. And I have found the longer that I do this work, my memory has completely changed. There are entire swaths that I no longer hold. And so your context for yourself changes. And there is a grief that comes in that because it makes you very different from a lot of other people. Which is why Spirit wants to come in almost also with like new stories. Like Spirit wants to come in and have, as we undo these painful genetics, these painful expressions, these grief expressions, these loss expressions, and the anticipation of those states of being, that we reveal, because all is held within. And so all of these loving stories, all of these stories in timelines of unity consciousness are coming through from within us to be shown and expressed in love. And they are also held within us. But we need to wipe away the pain that we're holding in place of them. Like you can't, with the way that our consciousness projects, you can't project both and have both. You need to choose, and one comes at the cost of the other. And it is your choice. And so all of this healing becomes identity healing, mind projection healing. Torrokina sansi kyoto korrokinim natrona samsakinandriti saya shonokorrokonotuinti toyokoini torrokata. And it is in your choice through your days, in your mind, in the choice of what you do, in the choice of the thoughts that you entertain, that they're coming from, you get to choose them coming from an identity based in fear or an identity based in love. And when the thoughts of fear come, that you remember who you are, to say, I will not choose that way again. I will not choose to project the fearful reality again. I will choose to project my loving self. And when you do that, you understand that you don't choose alone. And so all of these ideas of grief that we're revealing to be let go of now, to have relief from by Spirit removing them from us. And this is a big crux. This is a big crux of it. You don't do this alone. You cannot do this alone. And that's going to bring up resistance because our entire world of the ego and the thinking of the world is that we do all alone, right? It's this idea of separation. And so there's going to be like frenetic resistance to this idea because the ego doesn't want to let that up, like the ego doesn't want to let that go, or else the ego starts to dissolve. And there's fear there because we fear nothingness. But that's not a possible state because everything is. So we open ourselves up to be reunified with all areas of consciousness of the self, and this will come up as perceiving other beings, your ancestors, your family members, your friends, your spirit guides, all of these other dimensions of being, the masters, all of these aspects of being, ones you have forgotten, ones you haven't met yet in this life, that they come through, but they come through in the non-physical. And then you do start to see that reflected in other human beings on earth with you. And so it's a process of reorientation. But this is how you heal grief from you, because you have to choose from your true identity. Simitra korokuni samsokin jamnindro rohinindo sosis shamotrokiandait. But Spirit doesn't want you to be, it doesn't punish you for choosing. In a sense, you punish yourself by choosing fear. So Spirit is suggesting, asking that for your own remembrance and happiness and unity, to choose again and to see how it is your choosing of love that washes away the past of fear, because you're not running from that identity anymore. You're not projecting from that identity, because Spirit wants you to be uplifted. Spirit wants you to remember yourself in light, not in density and pain and separation and just like sadness and heaviness and feeling caged and feeling stuck and feeling like mucusy and just like not good. Spirit wants you to remember the truth so that you move about in freedom. And it's very important that you constantly remind yourself that is what God wants for you. God wants perfect happiness for you. That's why it created you as itself. And so we're wrong. The earth ideas about what God is are not right. And if you don't believe that, look to all of the violence religions. And the ideas of vengeance and punishment and hell. And being cast out, right? Those are all templates of what we believe of God, or at the very least that it's completely unfeeling and letting us all here to die. And so there are very fundamental beliefs held throughout time that project, because our fundamental relationship is our relationship with God. It is our relationship with ourself, but our true self, capital S self, is God, is the emanation. Is with our Creator. And so, as much as we might not want to do this level of investigative work and digging, at a certain point of your learning, you're going to have to accept that this is the fundamental relationship that needs to be healed. And then that is what then, and in that process, we include all other beings because we must. Kirikaya tokoruiti isum sokonoin shikinin dokoruito yumnayon, hinindri kanato rokonayan sotruit, siushokinindritaya sokarati, inindrayorro inindritisi, shin sokorokot umnandrihit, himindia sokoni shin sandratus ati, kiriharatus, shitrikan, itiop orruikoyon sondrotat, hininti sanchatis ihit, Kireya toko yosim siditi irditi kinindri kinin. Himindro orrukunun juptokoruin tokonoyatas. Sanchiriti sansakinandroto yunsotriti sanchi kinindri te amayat. Hinim morroharato inindrahai kinian. Hiri arahatatra yato soshabayo korrohono yimsataya son soyishiti. Hiendio roiti sim shinindrihit. Kinindi sinsani shinin yoptor kayata sa sin yoptor kindaptoruhit ikiamayat isan satashoko isani hinindayatorra wapayason sotoyit paoruin matrayasin hinindrayatorro tandratis. You must insist upon what you are in truth. I will to know. I seek and find. I ask and am given. You are not powerless. You are informed by the one power of all. Kibayo tokorkonam mian shinitayas natrakoitis ikayis. Sitritis doshnandra korrohit, hina umditi kinindri kanadra, Yaptoru, yaptora, shansatra, yanto korro kunabayisian sokonoshamsiki, hirianaya tinanantasian shiritikin troruitium dokorokinata, sin sharihayatikin, hindatiotok itishim santayati, hiayatoritis nyonchor konondro apayata, inindaya soyan shiti koyot, Horwitisan insan charatosokia por kunot imindatoyon sotusham siritiata sintisyoshorwi tayaptoruhanandrahaitis shinindikainiantok. And what's coming through now is like genetics as portals to like different time space of vast different dimensions. We reunify in wholeness, but we close the portals to fear. We are the reunification of wholeness does not allow for fear. So it's not rejection, and it's not really cord cutting in the way that people talk about that. It's just replacement in what you're holding. And in that replacement is the fear undone. It's not like rejecting it. It's understanding that it's not real, and because of like quantum entanglement ideas, it's not real for you anymore. But we have to expose that at all of these different levels, all of these different dimensions, and we're attached to so much more than we understand through our genetic makeup, which extends past our skin. So I think we might actually end it there for this time, but this is a topic we return to. I mean, this is certainly a theme, this grief, this loss, that I is a very big part of my own work. So if it's something that you need assistance with, there are many ways that we can work together. I'm often doing this healing for myself. My father passed away 5 years ago this month. His mother died around the same time of year, probably about, oh my goodness, time flies, 12 years ago. I have lots of family and friends that are on the other side. It allows for a lot of assistance in the spirit realm, and truly to see, my father's passing, which I was present for, and it was an awakening to this work in so many different ways. I don't believe I would be doing this work in the way that I do if that moment had not happened, and I'm training to be a death doula now. So this work is so much the bread and butter of my practice in a lot of ways. I mean, there are so many other manifestations of it, but if you need assistance in this way, this work, this is something I definitely have an expertise in. So if you need help at this time, certainly it is not just death of human beings that we know personally. There's lots of grief in the collective at this time. The government is falling apart. Social support systems are falling apart. People are going hungry. The government is sanctioning it. It's horrific. This is going to bring up a lot of collective grief, a lot of collective fear. When this happens on a large scale, I don't think anyone should forget what happened during the French Revolution. It's not like a good scene here on Earth right now. But we need to allow ourselves to process what's going on here, allow ourselves to, in the unity consciousness view, we can bring up when this happened throughout all of time and space, so that we can heal it through the center of all beingness and have it be undone through all time and space. This is like the unity practice of the power of our minds and the nature of the field, in which time and space are really just projected illusions. So we're much more powerful than we think we are. We're not powerless to what's happening out in the world. We are not victims of the world that we see out here. But it would be negation and what they call bypassing to say that we could just ignore it in the emotional expression and in the mental sort of anxiety that is projecting from the collective field. It is not helpful to negate this. I don't think cord cutting in that way is helpful. It's not helpful to pretend that this is not happening. We believe that it is happening, and most of the beings on earth believe that this is the only reality. So if you are a seer in any kind of way, that you're going to be affected by that. I believe everyone on earth is collectively affected by that, and that's why there's so much heightened depression, heightened violence, heightened anxiety, heightened suicide, heightened all of these things. It doesn't serve to pretend like it's not happening. And you can, if you, it's the process of compassion, and maybe looking up the story and calling in Kuan Yin might be helpful to you too, if you have this, if you feel drawn to this kind of work, because she's very helpful with universal compassion. And certainly a lot of the teachings and practice of the Kadampa Buddhists are helpful for universal compassion as well. Global peace prayers, these kinds of things. This is very powerful work, but we don't do that work by pretending it's not happening here. The way that it's healed, this might sound like paradoxical, it's not happening in reality, but we don't live in reality, we live in a projection of a dream. So when we open ourselves up to our inherent reality, we allow that beingness to extend, because love only extends, and enfold and reunite. We see into the reality of all others in their perfect beingness. This is a process of compassionate healing. But we can't negate, and we can't ignore, and we can't hide. So you have to bring up what scares you in order to be free of it. Would it be cool if there was another way? Yes, I just don't think that there is, because I've asked for my whole life if there was a different way, and I just don't think that there is. I think you have to go through the experience. We're going through the experience of it to heal through the physicality of it. But again, we don't do this alone, and there's nothing to be afraid of. We're very powerful beings, and we have eternal life. Don't lose your context of yourself in reality, right? We've been talking about throughout this video. We reorient ourselves to the reality of our truth, the reality of love. That is the light which informs us. That is the light of life which runs through every single thing we see, sense, feel, and touch, because the center of all beingness is everywhere, right? So we allow that to inform us as we extend our healing to the world. So with that, all ways to work together are down below. Many powerful things going on in the field at this time. A very powerful time to do energy healing. So thank you all. You can also join the channel. We're doing a sacred sexual energy healing series in addition to the weekly healings. And when I get back to Colorado at the end of this month, we're going to do live member sessions on Tuesday evenings, Mountain Time. And there's lots of other things going on. You can check it all out below. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you next time.